Good morning. Cynthia sings classical, Cynthia Ganga soprano. So this works much better, which is good. I do have a less grainy camera, but I don't know how to incorporate this microphone with the camera, so we're going to use the grainy camera. I probably need to replace this laptop within the next year. Yesterday, I had some really, really good work ethic. I worked for 11 hours on my homework. I put most of my notes from acupuncture school and from things that I needed to throw away of notes for massage therapy from 25 years ago when I took my first course. Well, it would be 23 years ago, 24 years ago, since I started being a massage therapist going to school. It's a 2-year program here in Canada. It is a designated profession. In Alberta, of course, it's disorganized and considered a not regulated health profession, but it is in BC, Ontario, and I think every other single province other than Alberta, because that's how we do things here, is the bullshit way. Um, so that was super cool, is working for 11 hours. I did take breaks. I took lunch. I took breaks for doing some laundry. And that was really, really, really cool, is being able to, one, not have pain, not have bowel problems, and be able to work for 11 hours in a day. Like straight work, like straight complete concentration. So, I also have some excellent news. For those of you who do not know, I studied with a Thai monk who was a master teacher of meditation in Thailand. He has 600 meditation schools in Thailand that he runs under the Willpower Institute, and it is a free course. The textbook cost is $60. He was 82 when I started training with him, and I trained with him every day, practicing every day. I couldn't necessarily make it to the actual temple every day because I was raised in Cali for that first part when I started in 2006. I actually started in 2002, went to Quebec, came back in 2003, still couldn't really do it, and started really, really, really hard in 2004 or 5. And then in 2006, I met Callie, and I had to raise her because her father's an idiot. And she didn't like me to leave the house to go and do walking meditation and sitting meditation. She thought that was very silly. So I have literally studied probably 30 to 40,000 hours of meditation. Um, and what is really cool is that I recently, as of this morning, it is 6:45 a.m. I've recently been accepted into a 5-year basic training program in Mahayana Buddhism, which will be 3 hours every day. I can watch the recordings in Tibetan. It'll be translated into English. It's translated into English, Spanish, and French. I will go with English because I'm not very good in French or Spanish yet. And it's a 3-hour every day course from some of the monks who are in the Gampala tradition, I think it's called. And they are teaching Mahayana Buddhism, or Mahayana meditation techniques. I studied Theravada techniques. So what I'd like to understand is the difference between samatha meditation and whatever they are teaching me at this program. So this will be the basic program for students who actually want to authentically learn meditation from the Tibetan tradition. So I've learned already from the Thai tradition of Theravada Buddhism. I would like to understand the difference between those two and the Mahayana tradition, which it is not actually under the Dalai Lama. He is a leader of a different group of monks, not a sect, but like a group of monks that study a lot more about the theory. This tradition studies a lot more about the practice, and that, of course, is what I am about, is being proficient in the practice, not necessarily the theology, and eventually working on the neuroscience. So there's a guy, still really allergic to the cat. There's a guy in Belgium who is considered one of the experts on neuroplasticity and the study of meditation as it applies to neuroscience. Now, what I find very funny is that he's going to study Vipassana. You don't do that. It's not a thing. Again, as I said, it would be like being 5 years old, being given surgical equipment to then do a heart-lung transplant with a patient intubated on a surgical table. This is not a thing. You cannot do that. That does not make sense. Samatha is the ability to create a calm mind and to completely silence any of the memories, any of the monkeys, any of the running around that your mind does. At that point, once you have reached the authoritative mind power, you can choose Vipassana. Sorry, Vipassana is this way on the map. Or you can choose Vijnana, which means techniques of things that are like recalling past lives, foretelling the future, healing through meditation. That process is often not even reached by monks. It depends on how much mind power you're born with. That's what Lampa said. But some monks don't even get to the authoritative mind power. So the idea that he's going to study Vipassana when he hasn't studied Samatha means that he is studying the wrong thing. He isn't being taught properly. And that's fine. He can do and fail whatever he wants to do. But for those of you who are listening, please don't go and study Vipassana and do 10-day retreats with Gorky. Giorka, that is an opera singer, but it's the same word. It's just spelled differently. Anyway, it's an East Indian thing. And you can't do that because you literally will fucking hallucinate and you will be put in a psych ward. What does Cynthia know about psych wards? It's a bad idea. Please don't do things like that because that is not the path to actually learning authentic Vipassana. You can't do it as a 5-year-old doing heart and lung transplant surgery. You can do it after you study Samatha slowly on a daily basis and have a basic practice for maybe 20, 30, 40 years. Vipassana will come very easily. So I'm hoping that these monks that I'll be studying with, it's a lama that I will be studying, not a Rinpoche and not a Geshe. A Geshe is a monk who is very theoretically based. They have read a lot of, I believe they're called sutras in Tibetan. I will have to learn this. A lot of theological basis for their study. A Rinpoche is someone who was, I believe, and I'll have to correct myself, considered a reborn monk. In Tibetan, that's a very big thing. I don't know why, but it is. I hope to learn a lot more about the culture in the time being. I was pretty mad. Earlier, 2 days ago, I had to open an app thing where you just like text to people about your language skills. So I'm learning the French. And they didn't have Tibetan on there. You know why? Because fucking China took it over. They don't think it's a country anymore because China is a bastard. And I was like, this is not good. This is like a culture that is very, very middle path. That's what the Dalai Lama has asked for. It's a middle path with China, which of course doesn't work because the Chinese government is bullshit. But yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. You can't just like take over a whole country. Yeah. Oh, Americans do that. Canadians have a habit of doing that, like to Native people too. I don't have a lot of sympathy for that though, because of the violence that I've experienced from Native men and Native women. Sexual violence, not good. So what are we gonna do today? Well, I have to schedule myself a lot better now. Hopefully I have a job within the next month, a proper job, not a wasting of my time job, at my proper pay, working with proper clients, working at a proper clinic. We'll hope. But today, and the reason why I'm saying that I have to schedule myself much better is that I still have to study, still have to do my math exams, still have to do piano. Now I have Nalanda that I'm working with, the monastery, which is in France, with which the lamas run. And that will be 5 years. Every day, on the weekdays, 3 hours a night, 2 to 3 hours a night, studying what the lamas said, writing notes, and doing exams I think it's every 3 months I have to do exams in the different topics that they will teach me. At that point, because I'm doing it online, I cannot be considered a teacher through them, like Lumpa, because I couldn't do the teaching program through the Will Power Institute because I was busy studying music and going and traveling and making sure that rape cases were filed and won. Tribunals mostly of rape cases that had failed and then needed to go to tribunal, because that's actually not how the legal system works, is helping people that actually need help. That's not what they do. So I'm actually not a teacher through Lumpa, which is fine. I practice. I can be a Pachasam Buddha. There are two types of Buddhas: a Samasam Buddha, which is a teaching Buddha, and a Pachasam Buddha, a Buddha that knows the shit but doesn't teach. And most people are neither of those. Please don't train with people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because it literally is extremely dangerous to your brain. It's not just dangerous, it's just wasting time. And if someone is charging you fuckloads of money, even like $10, that's fuckloads of money, because the monks who are authentic do not charge money for this. For Nalanda, they charge for the like doing the class, to be able to like pay for their bills as like a monastery, but which I think is kind of actually a little bit coercive tight selling, because if you can't finance yourself through great work, like Lumpa did, it makes me question your abilities. But maybe that's a different tradition in the Mahayana, because in the Theravada, Lumpa was literally known as a person who could work miracles, specifically through healing with the mind, healing people through meditation. Now, I'm not saying that everybody can do this, because there are a fuckload of shysters who will pretend that they can do that. You can't. It's not easy. It took Lumpa, I think, like 25 years of practicing full-time in the forest, because he was a forest monk, to be able to learn how to actually control his mind, and then to learn how to be able to use that mind power to help people. Most people are just messing with you if they say they can do that. I was talking to some people yesterday who were saying that chiropractic helps cancer. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was going through my notes for acupuncture, and knowing that I went to a shitty school, which is CCATCM in Halifax, because they were saying the motherfucking garbagey things about healthcare and about real Western diagnoses being helped by stupid Lucy Griffiths. And that is not true, and you cannot say things like that, because stupid people will actually believe you, and they will give you money, and they will bankrupt themselves if they have a 3rd, 4th stage cancer. And that is so unethical that I can't even. So, let's see. My back was starting to hurt a little bit last night after my 10th hour of studying, so I have some work to do. We're going to go from 1 to 20 slowly. I have the timer on for 90 minutes right now to just kind of warm up my fingers. And as I warm up, oh, that should not be like that. And as I warm up my fingers, I will come back to this and sing today, and I will do some homework today, and that should be very nice. Okay, part 1. Oh, I need another thing. Where's the other thing? I've got this terrible book called The Piano Chord Encyclopedia by some guy named Eric Rader, who was being a prick when I talked to him. I do not like pricks. You can get the book for free. You don't have to sign up for his stupid course, because he's being a prick in his emails, and I don't have time for that. But I don't actually know all of the chords, so I got the book, and we'll see if it's an effective book. Because he also had this thing where he was like, tell the key signature in less than 5 minutes. I was like, it takes like 4 seconds. It's literally written right there. Which means that he probably shouldn't be teaching piano, but his whole selling point is teaching piano to people who are new as a person who taught themselves. Well, if you haven't learned the key signatures in I don't know how long he says he's been teaching, maybe like 10 years. Well, that's a big problem because that's a very, very basic skill as a musician. Okie dokie. Part 1. I don't want to wake up my roommate because it's only 7 a.m. and I think it's annoying to hear Hanon all morning. So I'm playing a little bit lighter than I'm used to, and I feel hesitant. And that is a weird feeling because I've been feeling deliberate for a little bit in playing forcefully, and now I feel different. And that is hard to negotiate. How to make sure that my fingers aren't hesitant. They're direct, but anyway. So, do you want to start playing the piano right now? Stop wasting your time learning the piano using traditional methods. Only take 5 minutes to find out the key signature with this plan. Fucking hell. It's time to start focusing on what is going to give you the best results in the shortest amount of time. This guy plays terribly. Holy hell. Start learning chords today and you'll be on your way to playing the piano in no time. Every email that I got from him was like written as a jackass. Why have you not joined my course? Why have you not gotten this free thing? I was like, because it's not valuable? Why the fuck would I get a free thing that I'm not going to use? The chords, maybe I will learn them. I will learn them. I will memorize them. I will work with C. C will probably take a month. And it's not because doing anything well is a process of regular practice. It is not a process of becoming the fastest, becoming the best. He's very American. I think he's Mormon because he's from Utah. So he's a mess already. Already a mess. But I don't know. Then when you email me and start being a dickhead, nah. And then I give you the feedback that you're being a dickhead and you still don't change the text of the emails and you're still being a dickhead? Nah. Eric Rader is a dickhead, but you can get a piano chord encyclopedia for free if you want, because I don't actually know all the chords. Anyway. This is going well. I will close my books. I'm laughing because the book is curved because I kept it like this for a few days. Hanon. Hanon. that's moving. That's annoying. Okay. So I was thinking about the difference between good coaches and bad coaches, and good teachers and bad teachers. And one of the things that you can't do in music is be super intellectual about it. You have to feel it. There were some assholes on the cello creepy group that was like, Hauser is the best cellist. And I was like, what? That guy's terrible. What the hell are you talking about? Anyway, so I would post all the time about how Hauser was terrible. And then I would get like literally thousands of people being angry at me, which I just thought was really funny because they can't hear the difference between terrible and good. And yes, he went to a relatively good school. Royal College of Music is relatively good. But then when you play like shit, you're still shit. So going to a good school and being bad doesn't make you good. It means that you have literally wasted 6-7 years of your life learning fuck all nothing. So Dawn was talking about the ability to learn the music and then switch into the other parts of the brain. Now, in meditation, when you get to the point of the authoritative mind power, there is actually no switch between the corpus callosum. There isn't a left and right brain. There is a full brain. I hope to prove that with neuroscience, but I have experienced the difference between working mostly in my traumatized brain, in my emotional brain, and living through my traumatized brain, and knowing intellectually that I can do these things, but being traumatized so badly that I couldn't be able to concentrate because the trauma was so terrible. That actually getting to the authoritative mind power now is both brains working together. And Joanna would always like, why are you not paying attention? Why are you not thinking? Why are you not learning the fingering? And I was like, well, if the fingering is not innate, why would I do it? And that doesn't make sense. But also, like, there was no ability to feel music for her. There was no ability to play music. There was an ability to play technically proficiently, which is exactly what I always complained about. But that's why she works really well with Asian young students, because their parents don't give a fuck about the emotional ability of these children. They're just like, achieve, 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 achieve. And then you have all these doctors, especially doctors, who have no social skills whatsoever and are very, very good at diagnosing things that are not happening. And that's not good, because medicine is a profession that requires social and emotional skills. Anyway, and accountants. A lot of accountants, Asians. Anyway, the point being is that you can't learn music without the emotional healthiness. So if your teacher is not emotionally healthy, you should quit. Oh, look at that. That's what I did. Because it wants me to jump, but it's like an opposite jump. It's like a thumb jump with my right hand. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. The fingering has to be right because otherwise I can't jump. Beautiful. I look grown up today. I have some pretty clothes on. I love the pretty clothes. Pretty clothes make me happy. And I get to wear makeup again because I've been here for a while and I haven't actually done my makeup for a while. But finally I'm feeling confident enough to do that again. That is very hard when you come back from something that is garbage and try to gain your footing again. Oh, and are like actually a human being. Because I mean, a lot of people pretend that bad things don't affect them and they're like, let's move on. Yeah, but like it actually did affect you, so why are you pretending it didn't? That's not healthy. That's some bullshit. That's like some self-gaslighting. Oh, people. People. Okay. Yep. Oopsies. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. 5 more. 5 more for 20. And 16. So, yeah. Having a person that thinks too much tell you to think more in music is extremely defeatist, because the point of being able to play innately and actually hear the music in your head is a relaxing process. It's not a work hard process. A lot of people can't do that. And it fascinates me that technical proficiency is being technical fastness. I'm not going to say proficiency, because there is a technicality to being able to play the music as it could sound in your imagination. And when you have no imagination and you're just playing lots of fast, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a good musician. I understand that my left hand is very slow. It's still catching up. But, yeah. Yeah. Oh. Oh. There you go. Okay. Sorry. I'm laughing at the copy. If you want to be fast and do things amazingly, do them poorly by playing the piano really aggressively. I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense. You don't make any sense, Mr. Eric Rader. I hate you. You're an asshole. I don't have time for that. I just got a free book. I hope it's a good book. I hope it's not a piece of shit free book, because most of those friggin' books that, like, you get as, like, it's called I guess it's called an incentive or, like, a download kind of free thing. I'm like, I don't want that. Why are you selling me that? That's some garbage. If I wanted to buy your shit, I don't need a free thing to buy your shit. In fact, I would rather pay for your free thing that's not free to see if it's valuable, to see if it's even worth the $10, right? Like, if it's not, what the fuck? It tells me that you're not valuable and you're just selling shit on the internet. Again, selling shit on the internet is usually a bad idea, but no. Oh, and the idea that there is wrong. So there's a lot of namby-pamby in the, especially opera in Merkland. Merca. Operaland is a Spanish company in Argentina, Chile. I'm not sure, but anyway. I have to change that hashtag from Operaland to Operaland in Merca. Because yesterday we had some bullshit where a guy named David Jones, who thinks he's very important and thinks that he can teach everybody and thinks that he diagnoses all these vocal conditions without being, you know, an otolaryngologist or a speech therapist, that he was like, we want everybody to appear elegant and gendered in our prescriptive genderization from the 1970s. So he was using Arleen Auger as an example, who was a great musician. She also died in fucking poverty, which is not cool. She also recorded exceptional amounts of Schubert, which is really cool. But dying in poverty sucks. So in this Operaland that they imagine, it's the 1980s. It is where you could still be kind of famous if you sold Pepsi. So Pavarotti, because he sold Pepsi. That's what he did. And that's how he got extraordinarily famous. And through contacts within the fashion community and Princess Diana and people like that. They were friends. He did a lot of fundraising for her in Italy. And within that world, there was a world where, one, you were usually married. If you were not married, you would not have a career because men would sexually assault you. Two, there was no need for a second income. Because at that, like, I mean, you had a second income because you were married, but if you didn't make a lot of money as an opera singer, you could still survive. Also, there was a genderization of only feminine women would play feminine roles, which means you get murdered, because that's always what happens, or you die. Sopranos always die. I don't know why they have to die. Why do they have to die? Why can't they live and live out their dreams? And that could be the opera. But he was also kind of like, well, I mean, I meet so many opera singers who are not ready for the excruciating hardness of this profession. And I was like, it's not hard. It's only hard because you make it hard. There are exceptional opera singers that don't come in the body you like, don't come in the color of skin you like, don't come in the ethnicity that you like. I'm East Indian. I was told by the former CEO of the Vienna Concert House to never talk about meditation. And from someone from, what's her company? I don't know. She works for a company as an agent manager type of person in Britain. Because Germans wouldn't understand meditation. Well, that's exactly the point. That's why I've studied it in depth. This is not a passing fancy. This is literally 30,000 hours of my life that I have dedicated to studying this practice. And then, I mean, I've had bullies like Joanna who were like, why aren't you better at paying attention during music class? Because you're fucking standing over me and it's really uncomfortable. And you keep telling me to work harder, like your prodigies, like your 8, 10, 12-year-olds who are now playing technical, but are not playing with emotion and have no social skills. This is not good. This is absolutely not good. These kids need to stop practicing and like meet friends, like play video games or whatever it is that kids do right now. I would say go out and ride your bike, go with your parents and do something, go meet some friends, go play some sports, do some real things. Anyway, I think it's really unhealthy to be incredibly unwell-rounded. But this guy, David Jones, was talking about how he, as a person that used to run an opera company, would judge people as soon as they came in. And then he would put in his head, oh, this person is wearing jeans, they must not be able to sing. That's not true. At this point, when I get to the point where I can sing exceptionally well, I assume there will be no classical music industry. I assume it's going to fucking implode because they are still selling people that are pretty dumb. If you're pretty dumb, like you're very pretty and you play dumb on camera and you wear the gown, the Oscar de la Renta, which has holes in it for some reason. I don't know why the dress has holes in it, but it looks like garbage. And you are super spiky and super happy and oh my God, life is awesome, then you'll be sold. But like, are you making money? No, you're not making money. The opera houses pay people in management, but they don't pay their musicians. Like, anyway, I think it's really self-defeatist to say, hey, you know what? We're going to apply the same rules that we had in the 1970s and 80s to 50 fucking years later. That's not the world. I have a profession as a massage therapist and as a financier. If I don't have passive income, which right now, one of my investments is being a bitch, and he's not paying me out, which is annoying. And it's not that I don't have any legal ground to stand on. It's just that if you want to be a shithead, in the future, we don't interact. In the future, when people say, oh, do you know this guy? And I say, yep, didn't pay me. And people say, oh, really, Cynthia? I say, yep. Or when people know me really well, especially within like East Indian or finance culture or like Trini culture, they're like, who's this guy? That means everything. It's just like, no, you're not dealing with that person because that person has a history of not paying. In that experience, being judged before you open your mouth is them putting boundaries on you and in their own heads about what an opera singer can be. So there is a quote from Renata Scotto where she was talking about Callis singing a translated version in Italian of one of the very, very famous German operas in Italian to Serafin, who was a conductor at La Scala at the time. And she was like, don't let someone take away from you what they don't know you can do because they have a perception of what that thing could be or what is supposed to be. I mean, the quote is a little bit misquoted, but that was the gist of it. If you're not tall, you can't be a coloratura, like a dramatic coloratura. If you are not, if I am 180 pounds because of medication, I must be a mezzo. That's what Janet Williams and some weird Zenadia person said, and I was like, I'm not a fucking mezzo. I have low notes, but I'm a high soprano. I am technically a spinto or a dramatic soprano, but in the sizeism and the casting, because of course we don't, make costumes anymore with a proper costume house or direction because there's a certain person that can fit into the role. It's just cheaper. It's easier. It's not about being able to like actually explore what people can do. It's, do you come pre-packaged? Well, I'm not pretty dumb. I can't be pretty dumb. It's not a thing. In my world of being female and being an extremely strong person, I'm not going to play that game. But it's also kind of why. Remember when I was talking about the guy from Glimmerglass who was talking about how a woman that can fire, spin, and juggle and play I guess it was a xylophone or something, but it was like an upright xylophone. So obviously she was in marching band, which means she can work well with other people as a musician. Like, perceptualize it. Think about why this person is putting this on the resume. That actually would be a thing of like having fire spinners in something, because they do that at opera houses like the Crump, like Alex, like Pepito. They're on the stage with some of the best orchestras in the world. Do they exist here? No. No, they don't exist here, because there's a judgment of black culture, of hip hop being part of white culture that like is from the 1970s and 80s for opera. But yeah, anyway, and I mean, really, like, most of the opera is nonsense. Some of the opera is lovey, some of the opera is murdery, but most of the operas are about nonsense situations. So why not test that out with putting people who would be not considered conventionally pretty or conventionally this type of voice? Because if they can fucking sing it, just listen. Close your fucking eyes. And to that end, I think that there's a lot to be said for competitions like The Voice Only. I think that's what it's called in England, where you're literally just listening to the voice and it's a screen. Because the characters are not the personality that you're putting on to be marketed. I can't believe that some of these people are as stupid as they're perceived as. They are bubbly and stupid and just unbelievably unchallenging, both intellectually and stimulation wise. Like, yeah, you can sing the notes, but there's nothing in your depth. I don't get it. Yeah. So anyway, I had to cancel him. I don't like people who are trying to recreate so there's a lot of like, oh, you're 41. Oh my God, you have to work really hard. You're going to miss your chance. I was like, what chance? To make $40,000 to $50,000 a year traveling the world and having really expensive lifestyle habits that I have to pretend that I'm rich, but no one's fucking paying me to pretend that I'm rich? To like impress the investors or impress the people who donate their money so that you can make a lot of money as executive and board, but like actual singers and musicians aren't getting paid? How is that beneficial to me to rush into something? There is no industry. Like, it doesn't exist. Maybe it exists in Europe, but I don't think people get paid still. Like, and so what is the point of me rushing into something? That's not valuable. Why not just be really good at it? I remember Heather being super, super vicious of like, what, do you just want to stay in your room and practice? Oh, look at what I'm doing. I can still sing better than you. And you've only been at it, I don't know, she's got to be 60, 65 now. Said she was like 15. Like 50 fucking years. Oh my God. Yeah, maybe I will just stay in my fucking room and just practice. And I will be fine with that, because it's better than being promoted by people who don't get women as intelligent. Like, selling intelligence, having my glasses on is way too much for them in my photos. I remember PhD Kristen Kunkla telling me that I needed to look more like a soprano. So not strong, not arms crossed, not like, come fuck with me. Let's see what I can do. Because, you know, you're never going to get hired in America like that. And I mean, she doesn't talk like that, but that was the perception. And it was just like, yeah, but that is literally who I am. If I'm taking a picture of me being super chipper and super pretty and super, oh, let's sell someone as dumb, that's not interesting. That has no value. And while I understand that 70-year-olds who were supposedly famous during the 1970s and 80s, that they're still having that value judgment that is 1970s and 80s, that's not a value that I hold, nor that the rest of the world holds. And that's part of why the industry dies. it isn't because, I don't think it is because you're still playing Mozart. I don't think it's because you're still playing the one Beethoven. I don't think it's still because you're playing the Verdi. I don't think it's because you're trying to I think it is absolutely not because you're trying to recreate opera as an art form when there are really not very many good composers right now. That is kind of stretching the idea that like the art form is dying because it's out of touch. But I don't actually think that the operas are that out of touch. I think that they're creative in silliness, and they sound better, and they're easier to sing, and they're easier to have those little earworms that stay with you for a few days when you go and see something that's played well. That does not happen mostly with contemporary opera. Mostly it sounds like nonsense. It's impossible to memorize. And I was watching the 2001 Space Odyssey. Beautiful music, except for the fucking Ligeti. I don't know if you say it Ligeti or Ligeti, whatever the hell. Terrible. Oh my god. Sarah sings that. I was like, fucking hell, that is so obnoxious. How can I listen to this for like 20 friggin' minutes at the end of the movie? My god, I want to die. But yeah, like contemporary opera is not catchy. It's not earworm material. It's not... The story might be there, but the music isn't. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I get very annoyed at the idea that I have to pretend to be a product when there is no industry for the product. Being a product of something when you're not being paid, that's some bullshit. That is some not actually being able to accomplish a lot. Anyway. What the fuck do I know, right? Learning a skill that may never be financially viable for an industry that is dying because there are old people or judgmental people that think that I need to pretend to be a thing that I'm not so that I can be bought by a thing that I don't want to be bought by. No, not there. Not at that. It sort of relates to my problems with dating, which is that I love having sex. And when I say that to men, they think I'm going to have sex with them. And I'm like, you haven't met the basic criteria. You don't meet the basic criteria. Why would I do that? Why would I have a future with someone or put my emotional and physical body with yours before you meet any of the basic criteria? They're like, it shouldn't be that hard. I'm like, because you don't fucking think about the fact that unless there's a future with someone, unless this person is phenomenal, there's no point in me opening up that vagina. No, not gonna happen. I find it very funny that when that happens, because people are like, well, I mean, you're single. I remember one of the psychiatrists mouthing off to me that I wasn't that young. And he's like 52, 55. He's abusive, not a healthy person, gay in the Edmonton, and doesn't take care of himself, and was mouthing off to me about the fact that I am single at 38, that I wasn't a spring chicken. And I was like, literally, I am at the age where most people get divorced and find their second actual healthy relationship. So I would rather not have to go through a separation again, because I'm technically not divorced from Randall, but it was like a 6-year bullshit of trying to separate our finances and trying for me to have access to my stepdaughter with the support of his ex-girlfriend. But of course, women weren't listened to, because why the fuck would anyone listen to 2 women in court that are saying that this guy is a bastard? Yeah. I find it funny. Because they're like, well, especially with the hoes that were at the spa, or like, if you don't look like Kim, no one will date you. Like, you have to put a naked picture up on your dating profile. I was like, because I want to get syphilis? Fuck off. You're so gross. Well, I mean, he's like, I'm dating a 42-year-old. And she was like 19, 20, and she was trying to get knocked up because she thought that this was a good financial decision. Because if a guy knocks you up, he's not going to fucking take care of his kid. Like, if he has no emotional connection and no self-respect, and he's sleeping with a 21-year-old at 42, it's because he's pathetic. So she does get knocked up, and then she loses the baby, and I think it was a miscarriage in like her 6th month. So that's hard. Like, that's really hard. And then I was like, so what's his name? Oh, I don't know. How long have you known him? Like 2 months. Okay, because you literally haven't been home for 2 months, because I know you're showering here at the spa, and I know you keep wearing the same clothes, and I know you keep smelling like really musky. Like, not like female musk, but like too much cologne and like too much, anyway. Like, you aren't washing, you aren't going home, you've literally been sleeping over at this guy's house for 2 months and you don't know his fucking name? Oh, we don't talk about that. Oh, okay, well, that's really not safe or healthy or anything. Anyway, it relates to the idea that I don't want that. That's some bullshit. That's some unhealthy nonsense. Yeah, and it does relate to being able to sell and promote who I actually am. And if that never gets traction, at least I am being authentic to myself and making sure that I am not pursuing a career that has no financial gain, because that is unhealthy. That is inherently unhealthy. The idea that you have to suffer for your art, it's the practice of the art, not the financial burden of the art. That should not be a thing. Let us do Psalm 19. Are we on 18 or 19? We're on 19. Oh, my dear, she went to work. Oh. Nope. Let us do this again. So I was just thinking about the idea that we all wear gowns. Gowns are extraordinarily expensive. Like, real gowns are about $1,000. I am fine with wearing something used. I am fine with wearing something off of Poshmark that is not expensive. I do not like being super exposed. But it's very funny because it's like you're trying to pay money to look like you have money to do a job where you don't get paid money, which is very, very common, especially within like finance world or like entrepreneur world. People will take draws on companies that are going bankrupt and then wondering why they have no cash flow. I'm like, you have no cash flow because you're taking a draw. Like, come on, be reasonable here. Well, I deserve to have that money because I built the company. No, you didn't. If the company isn't functioning and there's no income, then you don't have a company. I don't think that music for me is a company. I think that a lot of the time I actually doubt myself more because I could be exceptional. Because I don't really want to be part of a culture that is so self-destructive. Nope. Okay. Dominant seventh chord, solid. My feet are so cold. Oh, I have to put my slippers on. Slippers. Let us play. What should we play? We should play some music because I'm getting annoyed. Music is best. Music is best. There was a woman. She makes me laugh. She makes fun of Melania because Melania is a hoe. Trump's wife. And I actually know her from Slovenia. So she used to live, their house was literally like across a little hill. They call it a mountain in Slovenia. It's not a mountain. In this town where my ex-boyfriend's family, his brothers-in-law, his brothers-in-laws lived like literally maybe 200 meters away from their house, but it was like across a mountain. It's not a mountain, it's a hill. Yeah, and they were like, oh, they were weird people. And we're like, yeah, they're like captains of the creepy. How could you marry that bastard? Anyway, I mean, obviously she wanted money, so it's easier to not be good at something and get money than it is to actually work hard for something. I mean, I guess it's hard, right? Like having sex with Trump would be pretty disgusting, but anyway, this woman, she's hilarious. She just makes fun of her, and I really enjoy that. I really enjoy making fun of shitty people. Because that's good. It's not shade. It's just like, oh, that's what you deserve because you're a shitty person. Your own, like, town says you're shitty? That's funny. Okay, Con Pedale. Let's play this. Oh, because it's supposed to be louder than that. Okay, let's go from there. that sounded really beautiful. In terms of the dynamics, I think I was able to do that quite well. In terms of correcting myself while I was playing, I was able to do that quite well. Making sure that I am not imagining people that are overbearing and behind me and creeping me out and judging me all the time. That is really obnoxious. I hate that. Oh, I hate that. Okay. I think we're going to not have that happen again. So this is my piece for the exam. I don't have to have it memorized. They say erase it. Who the fuck cares? I'm not here to erase that. That's too much work. They don't like what they see. They can judge me on the fact that my music is marked up. Whatever. That's just like a way to win at exams, and I don't think that that's valuable. Okay, let us play. Is that a 3 or a 2? It is a 2. I hate that. That's not good. Well, I guess I understand why. I went too low. Yes, I did. Okay, that's okay. Beautiful. That was actually really, really, really good. Um, so, that is challenging. Hearing it in your head and then playing it with hearing it the way that you hear it in your head, but not overthinking that you're playing it the way that you want it to sound like. Oh yes. Oh yes, the fuckery of how much it takes to be able for me. So, Samantha Nolan Smith took a class from her called Women Speaking Up. It was about being able to be visible in the world, called the School of Visibility. And she would constantly berate me that I am too intellectual. I'm actually not. I'm extremely physical because I have extreme trauma in my physical body. It's much easier to intellectualize. Well, you need to fix that. Yeah, I do, with a registered psychologist, not with you, like some fucking coach that doesn't have any counseling designations. But I'm a counselor. I took an online class. Yeah, you're not a counselor. You shouldn't be working with people in trauma. You are actually making it worse for them. But one of the things that she would always say was that some kind of like engram thing, like it's telling you that your life is going to be like this because of a frigging horoscope. That's not real. That's extremely manipulative. And it's using like pseudo-psychology to actually not help people, but just grift them. That's not cool. But she would always talk about how too intellectual I was. And Sanal Hawa, who was Hanel Sawa? I don't know what the hell her name is. Anyway, she's supposed to be a psychologist. She's not a psychologist. She is not good at what she does. She was supposed to be helping me with counseling for trauma, but like had no ability to leave her house. Like that's how trauma-based she was. Not just because of COVID, because she was scared of every single fucking person. I was like, so you're a fucking shut-in? And you're gonna tell me how to get better in my life? No. So I paid her like 4 times, I think, so like $800 or something, which is a lot of money for doing some fuck nothing. And she was never able to listen or show empathy or demonstrate care. But then she was also not able to have any kind of technique or tools that would actually help me. Not useful. But she would also be like, oh, there you are overthinking again. And I was like, no, literally I'm not. I'm just thinking. Like, it's not overthinking. There is a point sometimes where I get so upset at the flashbacks and the rectal tearing and the pain that yes, I definitely go into a place of why the fuck didn't they prosecute Randall? Why the fuck is the Crown Prosecutor's office such lazy bastards? But then I realize they don't give a flying fuck. All of those people have lived in ivory towers their whole lives. Most of them have never experienced trauma. Most of them had never experiencing being a victim of crime other than, let's say, someone like, hitting their car or banging their door in the frigging, like, Brownlee building parking lot. Like, they're not real people. They've never experienced anything that victims of crime go through. But when she was doing that, I was kind of like, you know what? Being around someone that is judging you for thinking and feeling is so detrimental. And I find that actually more in supposed helping professions, than I do in finance. They're like, Cynthia, you're smart. You actually can think. You can actually have intuition about what this person is going to do. I'm kind of annoyed because I think that this is going to be an overbearing person in my new job that will kind of like micromanage me. I really don't like being micromanaged, but if that is the reality of having a full-time job again, I'll take it for the temporary. Yeah. I actually don't like I don't overthink. I think as much as I need to. And because I express those thoughts, instead of keeping them cloistered, as most women do, oh, I'm fine. No, you're not fine. There's nothing about this that is fine. This is garbage. So why are you not saying it's garbage? Why do you not have the courage to actually say something real? And I mean, that's what she was teaching. But then Samantha was also judging people that were honest about their trauma when she was hiding her trauma and promoting that she was telling the truth but literally lying, which is very annoying. Yeah, motherfucking bitch ass cunt. If I ever finish law, I don't know if I want to. That is what my that's what my law firm's gonna be called. I think so, because people don't actually want to do the right thing. So people who actually do the right thing, they must be motherfucking bitch ass cunts. So I think that sounds like a perfect law firm. And bastards. And bastards, as I add men. Because men do get treated better in the courts often. The women are smarter, but the men get treated better by other asshole men that are judges. We don't elect judges here in Canada. We appoint them. There is a 2-year process. But it's still a very gendered process. It's still a very, what have you accomplished? As opposed to, would you make good judgments to the progress of case law? Yeah. So, 11:15. Oh, 8:15. I had 4 ladybugs dive bomb me last night. I was like, what the fuck is the ladybugs? What is this? Being attacked by ladybugs. I have to change that hashtag to Operaland in Merca. And I probably today will laugh at Prince Harry because he's fucking stupid. Love that kid. Couldn't be dumber. His wife's a hoe. That's good. That's funny. Black trash hoe. Because she says she's black. I mean, she's black as I am brown. You can't fucking tell. And people are like, did you know she was black? I was like, no, I didn't. Because, like, unless she broadcasts it, you don't fucking know that I'm East Indian, right? Like, you don't know that I'm from Trinidad and spoke these languages when I was a kid, but I don't remember them because I pass as white, so why the fuck would I need to be involved in the femicide culture? Like, I don't need to be part of Sikh, Hindu, Muslim, Indian culture, because people can't tell until I, like, say something, right? Anyway, so this new boss is East Indian. We'll see if that is what we're dealing with. I hope it's not. I hope we're just dealing with normal people. We don't know. Literally all the physios who are white have moved to Vancouver or Calgary. They're like, no, we're not staying here. This is a shithole. Edmonton's still a shithole. It's not cold. It's like +3. I get a truck at the end of May, which is super fantastic. Really loving that for you. Oh my god, I hated that when Renee would do that and all those weird people at Halifax would do that. Like, that's so good for you. Okie dokie, what the fuck are you even talking about? You're so fucking weird. I just have a truck. It's a truck. I'm not happy about driving a truck. It's actually quite embarrassing because I'm very not part of redneck culture, but it's like a 2002, so it's fine. We'll be able to keep that for the next 3-4 years, which will keep me going for the next little bit, because it's impossible to live without a vehicle here, which is so stupid because there's so much money spent on transit, but then there's drug addicts on transit that will stab you. So that's not cool. Police display for the murdered cops is today just close to my house, like maybe 10 blocks away, so I'm going to go up there, do that at 12, and I will come back and I will practice some singing today. My tummy's starting to hurt. I have to go to the bathroom. Not a lot of rectal pain today, which is nice because sitting is very hard when you're in a lot of fucking pain. And walking around the house doing pacing when you're trying to study is not super easy. Cynthia Ganga soprano. Cynthia sings classical, being a bitch as always. And I just practiced, which was really cool. And I played something that I haven't played, I think, probably in 6 weeks. Really, really well. So I should be ready for these exams coming up in May or June, depending on when I can pay for them. I'm just going to do them online. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.